Floppy approaches and tells you that Mr. Floppy has returned. The girl is ecstatic that Mr. Floppy is finally back home. "I'm happy for you," Melanie says with a smile as she returns the handkerchief. The girl bows her head and thanks you deeply. Mr. Floppy looks as slimy as ever. You just hope it's a happy slime. "The headman wants us to bring Mr. Floppy to him. Would you mind?" you ask. "Of course not, but bring him back soon," she answers with a bright smile. "The Ivory Order has heroically reclaimed the stolen goods," he says, chest puffed out in pride. "I just knew Winifred and her fellowship could do it." Now that she's reunited with her stolen skin medicine, the woman couldn't be happier. "All thanks to the heroes from the Ivory Order," she says. A huge smile on her face, she begins applying the medicine all over her skin. Apparently, the woman is being harangued by some man who keeps asking her out. "I don't know how many times I have to tell him he's just not my type," she sighs. You follow the curious sounds to their source, our resident well water lover, digging at the dry well with his bare hands. He digs and digs, but no water is forthcoming. What's worse, he has injured his hand in the process. Melanie beseeches you to help the poor man. "But well digging was forbidden by our ancestors long ago. You've heard the legends," you protest. "How is that the best lie you can come up with?" she snaps back, appalled. The man turns towards you both, oblivious to the squabble playing out before him. "Do you have any salve that might ease my pain?" he asks. You hand the man some salve. The instant he applies it to his hands, he resumes his furious digging, this time punctuated with shouts of "I feel incredible." Not long after that, water erupts from the ground with a force unlike any you've seen. He sidles up to the jet of water and begins drinking from it as one would from a fountain. He is once again in his element. The man hands you mysterious card 4 to show his appreciation for the salve. I am so happy to see you safe and sound, the headman exclaims, giving Mr. Flobby a hug. You explain everything that happened, including the incident with Vince and the Ivory Order. He expresses his relief that the Order will be taking care of the criminal. He then thanks you for your hard work and instructs his stewardess to prepare dinner for your party. You can feel your collective mouths watering at the sight of the lavish meal before you. You, Mar, and Ridis immediately dig in. You aren't sure where you find a moment to breathe among all the feasting. Please, eat to your heart's content, the headman insists with a smile. Once your belly is full, you realize that Mr. Flobby is gone. And then... Room for dessert? The headman asks, offering you a plate of slimy jelly. You feel your stomach churning at the very sight of it. The color strikes you as familiar, and the stickiness sends a shiver down your spine. Is this Mr. Flobby? You ask the headman, your voice trembling in disbelief. The headman looks at you with a plain expression, one that holds no malice. Is that a problem? He questions back. This dish is a masterpiece, he remarks with a light-hearted chuckle as he gazes at the jelly. And I have you brave heroes to thank for it. Had you not brought that slime back, we would not be able to enjoy this exquisite dessert. You move to leave, but the headman stops you. I try to get my meat while it's still young and tender, but at least your pet is very plump, he remarks, licking his lips. He points at Mar and asks, would you consider leaving that creature here with me? Never, you refuse flatly, not bothering to hide your discomfort. Think about it, he entreats, and then... You grab the headman by his lapels, hands trembling in fury. Let's do this. Pummel the headman with all your might. Curled up on the ground, the headman groans in pain, but insists that monsters were meant to be eaten. You hug Mar tightly, reassuring him that you will not hand him over to anyone. Mar looks at you with his round eyes and mews softly. You meet eyes with the rest of your party and reach a tacit agreement. Together, you all stand and leave. As you are about to leave the headman's house, though, the old man suddenly charges at you from behind. But Mar, the keener of you two, is quick to block his path. With a crash, Mar and the headman tumble to the ground. From the headman's hand falls a small blade. It clatters to the ground, covered in blood. You take the injured Mar to an inn where you can watch over him. You gaze at the unconscious Mar with concern. Despite the shallow wound, no amount of medicine seems to rouse Mar from the bed. I heard that my friends were in danger, so I came as quickly as I could, Lappy says. As he reaches Mar's bedside, he leans over and licks his wound. "This is what-you-call-it extract," he shouts. He explains that it is a poison extracted from a certain monster. If it enters the body, it drastically reduces one's stamina. Hearing those words, you realize the headman's blade must have been coated in this poison. Mar's condition starts to make sense. "Isn't there anything we can do?" Melanie asks. Lappy's eyes widen in realization before he places his mouth over Mar's wound and begins sucking. He then puts the what-you-call-it extract into a bottle and hands it to you. Lappy says that if you follow the road south of the village, you will reach Shoreland. He tells you to give the extract to the famous nutritionist there. You try asking Lappy to go in your stead. Since you already know the particulars, why don't you go? "I would love to go, but alas, I am a monster, and still a child," he answers. Thus venturing to other towns would be perilous. You raise an eyebrow, recalling someone who had said they were ready to leave the village on a journey. You decide to go, knowing that Mar's health is your top priority. But this is strange. The extract comes from a monster, so it should have no effect on one, Lappy remarks with a curious tilt of his head. "I thought a beast of that size would eat us out of house and home," she remarks, no doubt talking about Mar. The girl sighs. "You're dirty again," she says, wiping a slime's mouth. "Mr. Flobby, you're alive," you exclaim in glee. "This is Mr. Globby, Mr. Flobby's cousin," she tells you. The girl sighs. "You're dirty again," she says, wiping Mr. Flobby's cousin, Mr. Globby.
Tweeting
bizarre rock appeared. It seems primed to explode. The bizarre rock transformed into a gold rock. Everything in view is suffused with a soft light, and it is magnificent. Everyone looks so lovely. You have to tell everyone how wonderful it is just to be alive. The reverie slowly fades. How long were you smitten? You can't say for sure. But everyone has taken a step or three back, and they all look deeply worried. After a long silence, the doctor of sorts speaks. I must confess, I had no idea it would have such a profound effect on one's character, he says in quiet disbelief. Be that as it may, he seems pleased to have seen any effect at all. He hands you a gift for the trouble and walks off in high spirits. The bizarre rock transformed into a treasure rock. About the enemy. That was lucky. Good work. You did great. The sign on the door reads, "The Great Nutritionist Oreo." You open the door without knocking. "Is anyone home?" you call. A muscular man emerges from the back. You politely ask if he is the nutritionist. "Indeed, I am the nutritionist Oreo," he answers. He says he has been studying dietetics here for many years. You hand Oreo the extract and explain that your comrade is now bedridden because of it. He stares at the extract for a long time, and then opens the bottle and laps at the liquid inside. "That's poison," Melanie shouts in alarm. The man insists that he'll be fine with his expertise of nutrition, and insists that knowledge is power, as if that will help somehow. Regardless, it seems he managed to grasp the composition of the poison with that lick, and starts concocting a nutritional supplement to counter it. However, he says he needs a spry fish, which has been difficult to catch lately. He needs a special fish to make the necessary supplement. When he explains that you can catch one in the surrounding sea, Ridis confidently interjects. She shows you a page from her ancient tome, which explains the ecology of the fish in detail. "That book comes in handy from time to time," Melanie remarks in surprise. Oreo gasps as if remembering something. He says that his son went out fishing and, with a bit of luck, may have already caught a spry fish. It sounds like his son is fishing on the wharf. You decide to go find him.